The moment Sigourney Weaver steps into the world of Avatar, Fire and Ash, something extraordinary happens. This isn't just another sequel. This isn't just another billion-dollar franchise chapter. This is a legendary actress, decades into her career, choosing to disappear into the body and soul of a 14-year-old girl. And somehow, she makes us believe every single second of it. Sitting down with Denny Directo for an exclusive conversation, Sigourney Weaver pulls back the curtain on what it truly means to become Kiri, the mysterious Na'vi teenager whose emotional journey may end up defining the future of the Avatar universe. For audiences around the world, the Avatar films aren't just movies. They are cultural moments. They are memories tied to childhood, to innovation, to the feeling of being transported somewhere impossible yet deeply human. And for Sigourney Weaver, this world has been part of her life for longer than most fans realize. Yet, despite the franchise becoming the biggest box office phenomenon in cinematic history, she insists that stepping onto set never felt overwhelming. In fact, she describes it as something shockingly intimate, almost humble in its execution. According to Sigourney, the magic begins when the technology fades into the background. While the world sees blue Na'vi characters soaring across alien skies, the actors see something very different. No massive green screens, no distant director barking orders from behind monitors. Instead, James Cameron is right there in the room, present, engaged, discovering the scene alongside them. Everyone wears simple black motion capture suits. There are no distractions, no pressure to perform big. It feels, she says, like an early off-Broadway theater rehearsal, raw, searching, and alive. Coming from a deep theatrical background, Sigourney Weaver finds this process deeply nourishing. She explains that the goal isn't perfection, it's discovery. Each scene is about finding truth, about understanding what the character is experiencing in that exact moment. The volume becomes a sacred space where imagination leads and technology follows. For her, this isn't just another job. It may actually be the best one she's ever had. And when she finally watches the finished film on screen, the experience hits her just as hard as it hits the audience. Even knowing every line, every movement, every emotional beat, she finds herself overwhelmed. Watching scenes unfold between Zoe Saldana and Sam Worthington, she feels the weight of the story all over again. That's because James Cameron doesn't shy away from the hardest themes imaginable. Grief, rage, loss, the unbearable pain of losing a child, the fury of watching one's world be destroyed. These aren't fictional emotions, they are deeply human truths. What makes it even more haunting is how prophetic the story feels. Sigourney points out that many of these themes were written years ago, long before they mirrored today's global realities. Refugees, displacement, environmental destruction, cultural erasure. Somehow, the Avatar story has grown more relevant with time, not less. And that relevance is what gives the film its emotional power. It doesn't just entertain, it nourishes the soul. One of the most powerful elements of Avatar, Fire and Ash, is the focus on the younger generation. The children in this story are no longer protected by their parents. They're forced to face impossible realities on their own. Sigourney Weaver describes how moving it is to be part of that younger group, to witness characters realizing that this time, mom and dad can't save them. They must figure things out together, and in doing so, they grow stronger, braver, and more independent than ever before. Sharing the screen with a younger cast that quite literally grew up making these films became a transformative experience for Sigourney herself. While many would expect her to step into a mentor role, she quickly learned that these young actors didn't need advice. They had their own instincts, their own processes, their own strengths. Instead, she learned from them, especially their generosity. They accepted her fully as a 14-year-old. There was no questioning, no hesitation, just trust. That acceptance meant everything. Sigourney Weaver didn't approach Kiri as a performance. She approached her as a rediscovery. She didn't want to play a teenager. She wanted to find the teenager that still lived inside her. Digging deep into her memories, she reconnected with her own awkward, emotional growing years. The physical discomfort, the emotional highs and lows, the uncertainty of identity. She allowed all of that to return naturally, trusting the process completely. She explains that the physicality was crucial. Her body had to remember before her mind could fully catch up. Spending time in the volume, simply standing, breathing, existing as Kiri, she allowed the character to slowly reassemble herself. Her fellow cast members never doubted it. They supported it. And that collective belief is what makes the performance so believable on screen. Audiences don't question it for a second. The illusion never breaks. But if emotional vulnerability was one challenge, physical endurance was another entirely. The underwater work in Avatar, Fire and Ash pushed everyone to their absolute limits. The cast trained for nearly 18 months under the guidance of a man who trains Navy SEALs. This wasn't casual preparation. This was elite-level discipline. The goal wasn't just to survive underwater. It was to look completely at home there. Sigourney Weaver reveals that when she first started, she could only hold her breath for about 90 seconds. But the expectation was 3 to 4 minutes. Through relentless training, focus, and trust, she reached an astonishing 6.5 minutes. Nearly 7 minutes underwater, and when she says it out loud, even she seems surprised by what they accomplished. What makes the underwater sequences even more remarkable is the emotional calm required. No one was fully relaxed at first. Humans are land mammals by nature. Being submerged goes against every instinct. But the Na'vi are different. They belong to the water. They move through it effortlessly. To achieve that authenticity, Sigourney developed a ritual. She would arrive on set 20 minutes early, put on all her gear, and begin a long transition process. Using a snorkel, she would slowly place her face into the water, allowing her body and mind to shift. She describes it as letting the land mammal give way to the sea creature, and according to her, it's very real. That transformation doesn't happen instantly. It's a meditative process, one that allows fear to dissolve and instinct to take over. By the time filming began, she wasn't acting relaxed underwater. She was relaxed. This level of commitment speaks to why the Avatar films resonate so deeply. Every detail matters. Every emotion is earned. And at the center of it all is James Cameron, a filmmaker who never stops discovering. Despite being an inventor, a scientist, and a deep-sea explorer, he finds his greatest joy in the volume, watching scenes come alive through the actors. Sigourney says it's as if he rediscovers the meaning of each scene through their performances. There's something profoundly human about that process. Despite the massive budgets, the groundbreaking technology, and the global expectations, it all comes back to people in a room, searching for truth. And that's why Avatar, Fire and Ash doesn't feel like spectacle for spectacle's sake. It feels personal, it feels urgent, it feels alive. As Sigourney Weaver reflects on the experience, there's a sense of pride, not just in the technical achievement, but in the emotional journey. She's proud of the younger cast, proud of the story, proud of what they dared to explore. And perhaps most of all, proud that she allowed herself to become vulnerable again, to trust her instincts, and to let a 14-year-old girl take center stage in one of the biggest franchises of all time. When Avatar, Fire and Ash hits theaters on December 19th, audiences won't just be watching a movie. They'll be witnessing what happens when imagination, discipline, and emotional truth collide. And at the heart of it all is Sigourney Weaver, reminding us that age is irrelevant when storytelling is honest, and that sometimes the bravest thing an actor can do is return to who they once were.